Welcome, everyone. It's good to see everybody. Got a small house right now, which is good. It's good because I get to read off names. Woman of Sparta. Woman of Sparta. Only real women breed Spartans. See. Spartan. That's all weird. I'm a Spartan. Start with the heart. What's up? Love in the laundry. Okay. Love in the laundry. I see you. All right. Carrie Ives. L House. Cherry K. Right. I feel like, okay. Erica. Waleska Baka. Waleska Baka's like, can you stream the fight for us? I would, but I'd rather not go to federal prison. It's just no. Yeah, I'd rather not do that because I'm not paying for it. A-Gate, an advocate of grace, Twisted Tea, perfectly imperfect. Corinne, Veronica Falls, Scout Inquirer, Craft Happy Tammy, Ray. Right. Dude, I would totally do it. I mean, I can't think of a more epic ass whooping that's going to take place. Logan Paul doesn't stand even a prayer's chance. He's got to know he's meat. He has to know that he is just pure meat. Like, the whole thing, just the thought of it's absurd. What can the reigning undefeated middleweight champion of the world retired due to a YouTuber? Oh man, like dude was taking himself serious too, man. He was like when he beat what's his face, the basketball player, when he beat him, he he was all talking all serious at the end of it, like, yeah, boxing's my life, and I wanted to be like, yeah, besides YouTubing, okay, boxing's my life, and I think this was a hell of a win. I want to go for Floyd Mayweather next, or who did he say? He said he wanted Conor McGregor. See, I feel like that would have been more fun. I feel like that would have been a lot more fun. But Conor McGregor is not a boxer. I mean, he's a fighter and a damn good one, but he's not a boxer. And the idea of him getting in the ring with Floyd Mayweather just makes me laugh. I should be scared for the guy. I should be scared for him, but it's such an absurd lineup. It's such an absurd ticket. It's such an absurd card that it's just hilarious to me. It's just funny to me. So, Anne-Marie McHugh is in the house. CC. Yeah, nobody likes Logan Paul, dude. Nobody likes that guy. I don't know why. I've never watched anything that he does. I mean, yeah, it's a joke. It's the whole, I mean, I think this is like, isn't this part of Mike Tyson's whole thing? This isn't the night that he's supposed to fight Holyfield again, is it? Is that the case? Because if that's the case, I'm logging off. I'm going to find a way to watch that. But I mean, that won't start till like 11 anyway, because that would be the main ticket. And I don't care about Mayweather Logan Paul. I don't care anything about that. Okay, so no Tyson tonight. Okay. Because I know that's coming up. Tyson versus Holyfield again. I don't know what kind of shape Holyfield's in, but I know Mike was looking pretty good for a very old guy. Oh, is that what he did? Is that what? Yeah, I've heard stuff like that. I never knew who the Pauls were until Logan filmed a dead person in a forest for laughs. I mean, yeah, what a tool. Oh, shut up, Jerry K. What's up, Denise M? I'm glad you made it. Welcome. Yeah, so as you guys know, I've been streaming the Joe Ray Daniels trial. He's on trial for murdering his 5-year-old nonverbal autistic son, and his name was Joe Clyde Daniels. And in Tennessee, it's a big deal. I live in Tennessee, and a lot of people are really, really upset about this. They're definitely not happy about it, and the local news stations are playing it, and talking about it a lot, and it's because we know how this works, guys. There's a supply and demand thing that goes on in the media, and they're not shoving this down people's throat. People here demand to know what's happening with this case. Yeah, Carrie Ives, I agree with you. I can't understand it. This is why we do this, to try to. I don't expect to ever understand it, but I definitely, I definitely don't think I could live with myself if I didn't try to understand it, if it makes sense. Wow, Rachel Hudson, thank you so much. Been catching replays of the trial, and this is just blowing my mind. I pray he gets justice. Thank you for live streaming this and keeping us in the loop. Yeah, thank you for using this channel to keep yourself updated, man. I really appreciate it. I have tomorrow. I figured out, because I got confused. I'm not gonna. I got confused because I'm in Tennessee. They're in Tennessee. I assumed we were in the same time zone. But they are an hour ahead of me. So if you're in the Eastern time zone, guys, tomorrow, 9 a.m. And I think it's going to be a long, long day. So I'm going to be, that last one was, not Saturdays, but Fridays was 9 hours, guys. And I'm going to do that again. It's not like I'm going to run out of tape. So I'm going to do that again. I'm going to have it up for the replays. I'm going to be commenting over it. I'm going to interact with you guys in the chat and see what you guys think of these things that happened. And we will definitely, what we're going to do tonight, we're just going to kind of hang out a little bit. I'm just going live because my stuff was still set up from when I was live with Mexi. I don't know if you guys caught that. I posted the link in community. If you guys did not catch Mexi's live stream today, please do so. For those of you who have been following the Suzanne Morphew case, Mexi drove 3 hours with his wife from Denver to that area where Suzanne Morphew allegedly, near the house. So, and I believe the problem is that there's a really, really weak cell phone signal there. So he was having a hard time streaming. And so he was unable to stream a lot of the investigative stuff that he was doing live. But I had suggested to just I'll bring people up to speed on some of the facts of the case and my opinions on some of these things. And he went ahead and and then did his own investigation on the side while I was talking to everyone. And so I'm sure he's going to go over that stuff again. And I think after we logged off, he went over to the area where Suzanne, where her bike allegedly had gone off the cliff there. So, and we all know that probably didn't happen, but I had a great time. But the thing was about that, for those of you, the reason why I'm telling you guys who have been following the Morphew case, this is footage that I haven't seen any YouTuber that's been covering the Morphew case at all. This is footage that he got boots on the ground there. You know what I mean? Just really exploring that area, and you get a real sense of what it's like in that area. And what shocked me the most, what really got to me, was it was beautiful. It's probably the most beautiful area that I've ever seen. I mean, there's this beautiful creek down, in this ridge there, and just mountains and life everywhere. And it was just gorgeous. And it was a cloudy day. I can only imagine what it's like on a clear, sunny day. And I was just blown away by the beauty of that place. And mostly I just couldn't fathom being in a place like that and being inspired to commit the most awful crime that you can as a human being. It just doesn't make sense to me. It doesn't make any sense to me at all. And I love collaborating with Mexi too, Denise M. Thank you for that. It was really, really fun. So if you're following the Morphew case, it's great to watch because of that hands-on content that he picked up, to me was just gold. I was genuinely so grateful just to be part of that stream, because I think we all wanted to see that area firsthand. Hopefully Mexi and I will do it again soon. I'm sure somebody in Colorado is going to get killed again at the rate this is going. Not to make light out of that, but somebody in Colorado is bound to, do something awful. And then, I'm sure I'll be following it, and Mexi will be there to be able to explore the paranormal side of these things. And hopefully we can get, I thought that was interesting because, hopefully he got some picked up some stuff from his investigative equipment to put together something and maybe get some answers. I won't hold my breath on that, but I think if there's any case that's worth doing that to, or doing that with, it's the Suzanne Morphew case right now. Wow, Yvette, thank you so much. I really appreciate you. Thank you so much. Yeah, but this Joe Clyde Daniels, this little boy, so far we've seen video footage which was almost narrated by testimony from his speech teacher, and she's a motor skills, I don't remember what it was, but she has a master's in that, and she specialized in working with kids with Joe Clyde's condition. And she was very, very informative, and you could tell that she really, really loved her job. It was very, very interesting and almost comforting to see that at least in the institution where he's getting an education, somebody truly cared about him. that was confirmed for me, and I thought that was a really, really beautiful thing to get to see and get. That's one aspect where I did get some closure. But it also, I'm not gonna lie, man, I was off camera and it definitely made me cry a little bit. Just looking at that little boy and seeing this wasn't a kid who wasn't happy. Surely I'm sure he didn't understand what was going on around him for the most part. But he was happy. At least he was happy there. So to see him at least have at least some outlet of happiness on a daily basis was very, very comforting. Cherry K, man, I'm not trying to lie. That really, really tugged the old heartstrings. I thought that, see, Love in the Laundry, you're making a good point here. How was she able to keep it together on the stand? I am blown away. I would have, was a mess. Everybody watching that with a heart was a mess. But what really got to me, though, part of what really got to me was how she kept herself together. She was so focused on delivering the information. I believe she went in there with the agenda of letting people know that this boy was special. And she was focused on explaining how he was special. And she smiled. She was delivering the information to the jury, and she was smiling. And I could tell that there were times where she wanted to break down. I could absolutely tell that there were times where she wanted to break down. And I saw her. I saw a person who was very, very strong. She went in there with the agenda to deliver her knowledge of Joe Clyde as a little boy that she worked with and worked closely with. And she was going to do that. She wanted to make this jury understand what kind of boy he was, to the best of her knowledge. And she absolutely and totally delivered that. And that's part of the reason that it touched me so much. Now, we also heard some compelling evidence that the judge allowed. Now, there was some blowback as far as the judge allowing this. The defense had objected to these two emergency responders. There's two different emergency responders working for different agencies, but the judge, the defense had objected to them being able to testify, trying to say that it was basically hearsay. But the thing was, the nature of it pertained to evidence of the case. It pertained to it, the nature of it, because these guys they're not saying, they weren't there saying that they witnessed something happen. They're merely testifying that they both heard the same thing from the same two people, that it was very jarring. And that's absolutely and totally, it's to me, it's vital to the prosecution. That's very important information. And if it's just one person, okay, that's kind of hearsay. But when it's two people who were there and heard the same thing, so you understand what I'm saying? So what happens is the judge, he hears the testimony from these two responders without the jury in the room. And then based on that, he's going to decide whether he thinks the jury should hear it or not. And then he decides that the jury should. And so they did. And supposedly there were reports, we couldn't see it ourselves, but supposedly there were reports of jurors' faces shocked when they heard this. And what they heard was little Noah, 3 years old, Joe Clyde's younger brother, 3 years old, say 3 times, Joe dead, Joe dead, Joe dead. Now, he's not sure. One of them made it seem like he was making a statement. The other person who heard it made it seem like he was asking a question, which it's hard to tell. With a 3-year-old, all they're doing is asking questions and talking. You know, that's what 3-year-olds do. When they first learn how to talk, that's what they're doing. And so it's hard to tell because they haven't worked out. It's fair to assume that 3-year-old may or may not have worked out the difference between delivering a question or making a statement. They haven't developed that yet. Maybe not. I don't know. What I'm saying, that's a possibility. That's all I'm saying. But that becomes irrelevant because what happens is Aunt Joyce, who is a sibling of one of the grandparents who live in the house, Aunt Joyce picks up little Noah and says, "Yes, baby, Joe's dead." So she basically confirms it. She basically confirms that the boy is dead. And that's another thing. Little Joe Clyde's father, reportedly, one thing that we heard during this trial is that he's constantly referring to Joe Clyde, and we've heard some recordings. Actually, we'll get to that. We'll get to that later. But as far as that goes, that was basically a good day for the prosecution, for the jury to hear that. Absolutely. And then the defense wanted to. What's funny is the defense wanted to have the put in. They wanted the judge to allow, because supposedly a little girl saw a little boy in his pajamas and spoke to him, and then told her mom the night that Joe Clyde went missing, or the morning following. And yeah, the thing is I don't know how I feel about that. You know, obviously I believe this man's guilty, but I'm really trying to think of things in terms of what's fair in a courtroom, which is hard to do when I'm not a lawyer. You know, but I try to determine, using as much common sense as possible, my own sense of fairness, to try to figure that out for myself. And but I still don't know how I feel about that. But what I do know is, when the defense was arguing his point, the judge explained why he wasn't going to allow it. The judge explained why he wasn't going to allow it, but he went over it like 3 times. And this defense lawyer just kept arguing with him. And this was the first and only time so far that I have seen this judge annoyed and irritated. And then he pulls himself together, right? But he basically gets to a point where he's like, we're just repeating ourselves back and forth. He doesn't say that, but you could tell he basically cuts this in half, and he says that's the last of it. I'm the judge, that's my decision, and that's how it's going to be. Prison Mike, what's up, buddy? Hey, you're welcome, man. So that's what he basically decides. And then, you know, we have a couple of police officers. One thing that we saw on the first day, which was weird, there's body cam footage, but it didn't look good. You know, the body cam footage, the guy ends up zipping up his jacket and covering the body cam at what seemed to be one of the most important parts of what we needed to see. And that kind of got on my nerves. But the whole defense, right? Basically, the whole defense is trying to prove that the police railroaded and coerced Joe Ray into a confession. Because remember, people, Joe Ray confessed to beating Joe Clyde to death, and repeatedly punching him in the face 15, 20 times. Apparently, there's no evidence in the house, but there was also plenty of time for them to clean it up. Plenty of time for them to clean it up. And the prosecution is basically working their way to proving that. But what they're doing is they're anticipating the defense. This is what I'm seeing overall of what the prosecution is doing here, which I'm enjoying watching because it's pretty slick. They're anticipating what this public defender is going to do. They probably did their homework on this public defender and his past work and what he does and what he has done. And they've probably worked out a strategy to simply predict him and beat him to the punch on certain things. So before this defense could prove that law enforcement was not doing their jobs and not focused on finding Joe Clyde Daniels, the prosecution just starts calling up cops, right? They just start calling up cops, and people who helicopter pilots, people who track the helicopter and how many times it goes around, and what the pattern was for the helicopter for the search for Joe Clyde. And it's clear that it was a very thorough search. It's clear that they covered every single part of that area to try to find him. There's recording, it was torturing to have to listen to because it was so low, so bad, we couldn't understand. And and I don't mean to laugh about it, but one of the detectives on this recording has Tourette's, and they even kind of giggled about it. I'm sure it's a point of humor to a certain degree between these two detectives who are partners. It has to be. It has to be. I refuse to believe that it's not. And not that I'm making fun of someone with Tourette's, but I imagine, when you imagine the scenario, let's face it, if you saw a movie about this case and it's focused on the detective with Tourette's and the female detective, it would make for it would suck you in. You know what I mean? You would be sucked in. And then you have the rest of the story. It's pretty incredible. So it's not your everyday thing, which I find somewhat humorous. It's just not your everyday thing. So you're listening to this recording and you hear this officer have these little Tourette's outbursts. But the sound quality was terrible, so we couldn't hear it clearly. And I couldn't really hear what was being said. So that recording was like an hour long. And yeah, I did fall asleep. I'm not even trying to I did fall asleep. Because you couldn't hear anything. I mean, honestly, you just couldn't hear anything. And then, they play another recording of the interview with Joe Ray. Now, this is what's really funny. This is not mentioned by the defense in the opening arguments. Not at all. Of course, he conveniently leaves this out. The way he makes it sound is as soon as they talk to Joe Ray, they're putting words in his mouth and they're trying to drag a confession out of him and they're railroading him. And it's all so they don't have to search for this boy, right? But they proved, so the prosecution, their strategy is, all right, what I'm going to do is just knock all of this out of the way. Before I get to all the evidence that we have, what I'm going to do is I'm going to show, before this guy wastes everyone's time, I'm going to prove that all of these police officers did exactly what they were supposed to do in finding Joe Clyde. They did the best that they could. They treated Joe Clyde like a missing little boy who could very well be alive, under the assumption that he was still alive. That is how they conducted this search. And they proved it. The prosecution proved this because the last thing that we heard was a recording and an interview. This was yesterday. We heard an interview with Joe Ray, and all of the questions were directed in the sense of, where is Joe Clyde? What could have possibly happened to him? Let's cover every basis so we know where to start looking. So we have a point, a direction to go when it comes to looking and finding this boy. So that's all I heard. That's all I heard. And that made me feel more comfortable. So the little bit of doubt, because again, remember, people, I'm always talking about this. I'm always saying this. So there's the doubt that there's the doubt that it's the defense's job to create, right? All they have to do is create doubt in one juror, right? But and remember, Friday I was like, so far I've got a little doubt. In my heart, do I have doubt? No. But do I have doubt that the prosecution is gonna convince a jury beyond a reasonable doubt? I don't know. But now yesterday at this point I was like, no, it doesn't make sense. We're seeing the search for this boy take place. We're seeing the search for this boy going all over the place. The entire community came together, volunteers, everybody came together to look for this boy. So to sit there and say that they weren't focused on finding this child is not only absurd, but it's also an insult. It's an insult to the entire community. So the fact that they tried pulling that, but now the prosecution is basically proven, no, we did everything we could. And then just out of the blue, Joe Ray and Crystal walk into the police station to confess. Why? For what? Why would you do that? What could possibly be your rationale for doing that? See, what I think happened, while everybody was out searching, they were scrubbing. They were cleaning and scrubbing. Right? And once they got everything all clean and scrubbed, we got Joe Ray telling Crystal, just let me handle this. Let me handle this. We're going to confess, then I'm going to take my confession back because they don't have any evidence. And then I'm going to take him to 6 different places, God knows how many different places, saying where his body is. So, and this is something that I think a guy who scores under genius level on an IQ test, on a recent IQ test, is perfectly capable of coming up with. Absolutely. If he has that, I'm nowhere near a genius, people. But I happen to know a very simple fact that I keep repeating on this channel. All you have to do is create doubt in one juror's mind. Now, I didn't think they thought that they were going to sit in jail for 3 years because of a pandemic. I didn't think that. I don't think they thought that. But here we are. Here we are. So I think this man perfectly understands what he's doing. I'm watching him in that courtroom. Yesterday was the first time they kept the camera on him for long, extended periods of time, which I'm glad they started doing. Well, Love and the Laundry, they probably did not have them under surveillance during the searches. They probably didn't. But supposedly they had 2 days. So when you've got this little boy and he's nowhere to be found, and the dad and the mom walk in to confess and tell a story, and then later on the dad's story changes. He tells his dad, the grandpa, that it was Crystal who smothered him on the living room floor. So there's all kinds. That is enough to possibly create doubt, guys. That is enough to possibly create doubt. To likely create doubt. Because if they have no evidence, I mean, they got rid of anything that could have Joe Clyde's DNA on it. How would they know to do that? But I don't think that he realized that in Tennessee, you can be convicted on circumstantial evidence, depending on how overwhelming that circumstantial evidence is. So this thing could go either way, people. This thing could go either way. This reminds me, just real quick, off the subject. I'm going to be I'm not doing a Patreon stream tonight. Tonight is when I normally do Patreon streams. Truth is, I need a break from drinking. And I actually thought of something that I did want to cover, but I want to be pretty thorough with it. And so I'm not gonna be cooking, but it'll be an old case, very, very high profile case, probably arguably the most high profile case of all time. Yeah, I know I don't need to drink Cherry K, but yeah, I just but there is a case that I want to talk about. But I mean, and I like to drink, you know, I just don't want to do it so often. That's all. But it all works out because I'll probably be ready to have another drink when I have this case put together. So yeah. So doing a little research right now, some deep dive research on the OJ trial. And that's what we're going to be discussing, because what made me bring that up right now was because of the OJ trial. That tells me that anything could happen here in this case. Anything could happen. But, you know, OJ was an interesting case because it was a case where both the prosecution dropped the ball, but the defense was really good. So he had an incredibly good defense, and the prosecution just wasn't as good as the defense. That's how it worked out. But I feel more confident now that the trial has gone on, because if you guys remember when I was talking about Joe Clyde Daniels and live streams prior to this trial starting, I would talk about how I was scared. I was nervous. You know, this guy could very well beat this case. He could very well beat this case. I was really nervous, but I feel better having seen having seen this defense attorney in action. So far, I am not impressed. To say the least, I am not impressed at this defense attorney. So I feel a little better about that. But I am impressed with the prosecution so far. Prosecution is just reading this guy and getting ahead of the game and just calling different cops, saying, okay, this is the chain of events, is how they took place. So I've already convinced the jury that the police did everything that they could to try to find Joe Clyde alive. They did everything that they could. So I've already shown that to the jury, is what the prosecution's saying. Now, I don't expect this to be a real long trial. You know, I don't really expect it to be a very long trial, but I do. I do expect it to be very thorough. I love this judge so far. I love that this judge is basically trying to keep things moving along. I love that they're working on Saturdays. I love that just yesterday when they were in a hearing right before they adjourned, he says, I want to ask everybody if it's okay if we start at 8 a.m. instead of 9 a.m. Now that's Central Time, people. And that's the Central Time Zone. And nobody objected to it at all. So to me, that is this judge. It's like, I want to get through this. I want to get this boy justice now. let's go. Right. um, and, and Rachel Hudson, I was just about to get to that. I really love that too. I love that the jurors get to ask questions in the form that they're getting to do so. So whenever this is something I've never seen before, I understand that it has taken place. It's just something that, like I said, I've never seen before in a trial, especially a high profile one. I've never seen it where the judge actually allows the jury to ask questions to the witness that's on the stand. Now, it's not some free for all where they get to like cross examine or redirect or anything of that nature. It's they get to agree on like 2 questions and write it down. That's what it seems to have been so far, where they get to write it down and then give it to the judge. And then the judge reads the questions to the witness. So this to me is great because the jury has a more hands-on involvement to try to understand the case better in order to come to a more fair conclusion. I love that because, I do not believe that this is a biased jury at all. They're not even from the same area. They had them brought in from Chattanooga. So this... Oh, okay. I didn't follow the Jodi Arias trial as it was going on. I just learned about it later. That's another case that I'm going to be talking about in Patreon, by the way, guys. And that one's going to be fun. I'll definitely be drinking for that one because that one's going to be a blast. So, yeah, I'm definitely going to be going over the Jodi Arias case. Absolutely. Count on that. But yeah, OJ is going to be next. I think that trial was absolutely fascinating. So yeah, we're going to be, oh man. Yeah. The Jodi Arias thing. So much fuckery in that, in that trial or in that case. Yeah. But yeah, so I do love that the judge is allowing the jury to ask questions. I think it's really, really helpful to the trial. And it's going to, I think it's going to, that alone in itself is probably going to cut down to deliberation time when it's time for a verdict, or when it's time to reach a verdict. So I think that in itself, letting the jury have this advantage, this hands-on participation in the trial is going to minimize deliberation time in the sense that, the stuff that they're wondering about, they actually got to ask. So if certain things weren't covered and they were like, I just don't know, because I wish I would have gotten to ask this, I wish I would have gotten to ask that, then, now that they do get to ask that, well, then that's probably going to cut down on deliberation time. Hopefully. That's just wishful thinking, And I coming up soon. Now this, like I said, the OJ thing, the Patreon stream, it's gonna be like tomorrow or the next day. Tonight I'm just taking it easy. But it's gonna be tomorrow or the next day. Definitely sometime this week. Won't have to wait till the weekend for it. But also I've been talking with Alex Erickson, and I don't know if you guys are familiar with her channel. She's great. She's had some really interesting people on her channel, really, really interesting people, and gotten to talk one-on-one with them. And I think that that's great. So, the fact that she finds me that interesting to ask me to be on there, well, that's just that's just something to be grateful for. But she is she asked me to join her on her channel. I think it's Friday. I want to say Friday or Saturday. She posted it. I'll actually post it here for that. Mm-hmm. Dude. Oh man. Yeah, guys, do me a favor. I'm gonna post this in the chat. I'm gonna post this in the chat. And please, please, please. I know it's like a week away. But please, please, please. This is Cherry K just posted a link to her channel. This is a link to that upcoming live. Go in there, please, guys, and give that a thumbs up. Do me a big, big, big favor and give that a thumbs up. I'm not going to get into it, but she's been dealing with some stuff on YouTube. Some of you guys probably know about it. I'm not going to get into it. It's not my business to discuss it on here, but I could tell, and I'm barely know this girl, and I'm willing to vouch for her 100% on her heart and character. She truly cares. You could tell by the things that she says, the things that we said in private conversations, the way that she would talk about certain cases. I thought was, I was like, yeah, this girl's definitely in it for the right reasons. And she's had some bad luck, and things that are not her fault. You know what I mean? Like if I were to, I've had Colton Harris Moore on this channel, 3 times? You know what I'm saying? I've had Colton Harris Moore on this channel 3 times. Now, what if Colton Harris Moore were to do something absolutely heinous, God knows what, and get himself locked up in prison? That's going to reflect on me somehow? You know what I'm saying? That's going to reflect on me somehow. Really? Like, I mean, so anybody that who does something wrong, even if you're involved with someone personally, right? Just because you're involved with someone personally and then they go and do something terrible, somehow that's reflection on you. Why? You know what I mean? So I think that she is very resilient. I've seen nothing but that. I've seen nothing but resilience from her. She's a single mom. She's, and she's very dedicated to her kids. I've seen nothing but reason to be impressed with this person. You know what I mean? So why people are giving her a hard time is beyond me. So what I want to do is I want my channel to show her some support, because I think it's BS that she has put out really great content. I mean, fantastic content. I just, for some reason, she's being held responsible in the community for the people that she's had on her panels and the things that they've done. And it's ridiculous. And that's all I'm going to say about that. I'm not going to name any names. I don't even care to. The point is that I want you guys to go in there and with enthusiasm, please hit the like button on that live stream if you guys are supporters of me. So I appreciate that. I would appreciate that very, very much. That would mean a lot to me. I'm really looking forward to that conversation with her. She has been really, really kind. She's been really kind and just kind of explaining her situation. And in no way has it ever been in a form of sad fishing in any way, shape, or form. It's, you know, the kind of, when somebody delivers you certain information, you kind of tell how they're delivering the information and be like, well, what the hell did you do? You know what I mean? This was somebody who already had the accountability for anything that she needed to be accountable for and explain the situation. And I was just like, yeah. And there's nothing for me to believe why that, you know, and yet, you know, and then I'm seeing the other people and I'm like, yeah, well, these people are always having problems with people. You know what I mean? Like always. There's a whole community can't stand these people. And I'm just like, so there's just this whole just fleet of trolls going after this girl for absolutely no reason at all whatsoever. None. So, and I hadn't planned on going off about it, but thinking about it just pissed me off. So whatever. It just makes me mad when people mess with people for no reason. People who don't deserve it. Like if you have it coming, you got it coming. You know what I mean? Like, think about it. You know, I mean, look at anybody who I have made it a point to talk about on my channel. Like they had it coming. They did nasty, dirty crap. They had it coming. So I don't regret it. You know what I mean? But she doesn't do that. Nothing on her channel has been drama related in any way, shape, or form. She just had people on her channel. Like, how is it just blows my mind how people think. It blows my mind how people think, man. Road King 01, absolutely. That's what I'm saying. And yeah, I mean, yeah, I just don't get nothing but a pleasant natured vibe off this person. I don't see I see nothing but haters. Dude, y'all remember, I hate to keep bringing it up, but I mean, y'all remember what Annie was going through? Like, just people just going after her. Every creator just started talking about her. Like, every Discord was just trashing her. It was like, why? You know, because what? She's pretty, she's nice. So you go after her because she's pretty and nice. That's gotta be fake. She's gotta be this horrible person underneath. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's just, and then you just see these insecure vampires come out of nowhere. These jealous, insecure, you know what I mean? Just bloodsuckers, dude. Because they're bitter. And they hate themselves for whatever reason. No, there's no way somebody's that pretty and nice. No. I mean, well, yeah, that it happens. You know what I mean? Like, I've met people who were pretty and people who were nice. I have. I'm proud to know a few, you know. And I get it. There's some like people, there's some people who are just like, who are like really superficially beautiful, but that's all they're focused on, you know, and then they treat people like shit, you know. I get it. But like, to just assume that every person who happens to be blessed with some superficial attributes makes them bad people for it is ridiculous. That's you and your nasty little insecurity that you haven't figured out how to work out. You know what I mean? I don't know anything about that, Evelyn. I don't know anything about that. And frankly, I don't want to know. I don't want to know. Because I could tell you that if there was something that took place like that, I guarantee you it was not deliberate. I'm willing to bet on it. Yeah, real. If you don't like somebody, don't watch them. I totally agree. If you just don't like somebody, don't watch them. See, that's nice, man. That's nice. What's hard? What's hard about that? Saying something nice about somebody, you know? I mean, I get that. I come off pretty abrasive, you know. I could throw I could throw an insult out there with the best of them. I get it, but I mean, if you pay attention, I say really nice things about people too, all the time, all the time. You know, it's not that hard. It's pretty great, actually, making somebody feel good about themselves. It's actually really nice. And you know what's you know what's more fun about that is it's a lot easier when you start to really appreciate yourself. You don't delude yourself into thinking you're something better than everybody because you can't face the fact that you're doing nasty, dirty things to people. That's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about literally trying to be the best person that you can be and then realizing I'm doing as much as I possibly can. So I am happy with myself. You know, it's nice. It's nice. It's a nice feeling, you know? And so when I'm happy with myself, I feel that much better about telling somebody else nice things about them. Shut up, Jeremy. I'm just kidding. I love you too, buddy. It's good to see you, bud. Um, so I mean, yeah, like it's real sweet. It's real sweet when you can really like really dig deep with self-awareness. Try to reach some real self-awareness. And to do that, start taking accountability for certain things that you are accountable for, and then work on correcting them. And the work to correcting them, kind of like working out, building yourself up physically, that feeling is great because you're proud of yourself. You're working towards something. You're trying to accomplish something. It's a fun thing to do. I'm not talking down on anybody here. I'm asking you, I'm giving you a solution so that you're not this nasty person who feels the need to trash someone and hate on someone just to hate on them because you don't like the way that they look or whatever. Maybe focus on yourself and start making improvements, you know? It's a fun process. It really is. It's a hard process to get in the habit of, but it's a fun process. Absolutely. I guarantee you results in an improvement of mood. I guarantee it. Let me see. Just me saying something real sweet. Look at this. The glare. I have been watching you for almost a year and you are going awesome. And your channel has changed a lot. I love it. Well, thank you for sticking around. I appreciate it. So, yeah, man. Says it all right there. I'm not telling you what to do. I'm saying, I mean, I'm not trying to sell you snake oil or nothing, you know? I'm just saying it's free. It works for me. It does. It's not a recipe on how to be perfect, but it's definitely a method in feeling better. Applying it to all of my everyday decisions, it just makes things go easier. It just does. But all of these things require putting in work. That's what I love about this. This is no magic solution. This is no, you know, shortcut to a better life. It's not. What it is it's a blueprint for the work you got to put in if you want to be happy. Yeah, dude. Just make it a point to say something nice to someone every day, dude. You know how you do that? Find a real, genuine reason to be grateful that they're in your life. It's not hard. It's not hard. It's not hard. How often do you do that? Think about that. How often do you do that? To actually make a conscious effort to find a reason to be grateful for each and every person in your life. Give them each that individual attention in just that sense. I thought I saw Aaron in the house. What's up, Aaron? Yeah, exactly, Rachel Hudson. No one is perfect. I have found out that you have to put in the work for yourself every day, and you will benefit and be a better you. Yeah, Julie Witcherman, I'm grateful for you and all the spamming you do in my chat. I for real. I'm grateful for it. It's adorable. I love you too, Erica. Um yeah, so I just wanted to give a quick little summary of what how the trial was going. We're gonna be at it again tomorrow, 9 a.m. Uh, it's gonna be 9 a.m. Eastern, 8 a.m. Central. Uh, and yeah, so we're going to be doing that tomorrow. And I just wanted to give everybody a quick summary of what was going on. And then I went on a little rant there. Uh, Nobody's perfect, man. Nobody, you know what I mean? And people make mistakes. People make mistakes, you know? Like harassing somebody is because they might have made a mistake doesn't, you know, that doesn't fix things. It doesn't fix things. You don't like somebody, just don't fuck with them no more. You know what I mean? Like that's it. Like that's how I run my life. Like I just decide whether or not I want to mess with them no more. And if I do, it's not like I don't understand. You know how many people have done things where I'm just like, man, where most people would be like, man, that is completely unforgivable. But I weigh in everything. I weigh in what kind of history I've had with this person prior to that. I've I factor in, is that a reflection of their actual character and who they are and who they strive to be? Again, people make mistakes. Now if it's somebody who does something terrible and I've just seen them doing not so terrible things, but makes me think that they're capable of something terrible like that, and they finally do it, then I'm going to be like, yeah, I think we're done. You know, I think we're done. But, you know, I make assessments on people when they make mistakes because I make mistakes all the time. I'm nobody to go, oh man, that's a bad person, when I've done worse things, possibly, depending on the situation. You know what I mean? But when it's somebody who's just constantly, you know, messing up, that's a different story. But if somebody, when it's somebody who you were jealous of them in the first place, and then you were waiting for them to mess up, and now that they may have, you're going to just pick at them and pick at them and pick at them and pick at them and pick at them. What does that say about you? What does that say about you? You got nothing better to do than to hassle this person? I mean, that's all I'm saying. That's all I'm saying. That's why you might be like, oh, well, you don't understand what she did. Well, you know what? I mean, do I need to? Really? Do I need to? If I've already had an interaction with this person, several conversations, and I can make my own judgment of character, well then this one thing that you're talking about, well then yeah, that's not going to affect your what you're telling me about somebody versus what I'm experiencing from them. You know what I mean? Like that's not gonna influence my decision. I'm gonna make my own decision. Why shouldn't that person have a fresh start with me when I wasn't aware of whatever took place? They weren't in my association yet. I had yet to have developed a dynamic with them yet, or even interact with them. So why doesn't that person get a fresh start with me? Why would you want to sit there and go, no, you don't know what she did. She did this and she did. Oh, okay. You know, but why shouldn't that person get a fair shake with me? And the truth is, it's nobody's damn business who gets a fair shake with you. You know what I mean? You got to explain that to nobody. If I want to go start writing Chris Watts in prison and start visiting him every day, that's not your prerogative. That's never going to happen unless I trolled him somehow. That would be fun. But I mean, my point is that's not your business, whatever somebody's prerogative is. And somebody else's interaction with somebody else is. That's none of your business. Why try to interfere with it? You know, why try to throw ink in that water? Oh, I love this right here. Look at these ridiculous questions, bro. These are ridiculous questions. I'm sorry, but you did that to yourself. Is Will making up with Kay? Why do you care? What if I did? What if I did? What business is it of anybody's who I make up with, stop being friends with, blah, 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 blah. What do you care? What does that say about you that you're worried about that, about me? It's a fair thing to think about, isn't it? Yeah, man. Like, you fake a suicide, you know, yeah, you got to answer to a community. You have to answer to them. They deserve answers. They deserve to hear from you. But if you decided to be friends with somebody that nobody else seems to approve of, well, I mean, no, you don't owe anybody any explanation for that at all. You know, you can do whatever you want. I mean, no, Veronica Falls, I get what you're saying. You're saying, you know, it's a little unfair to that person who asked that question. I mean, it's not. I mean, I don't believe it's unfair at all. You know, I mean, it's not unfair at all. You know, if you're concerned about that, I've made that abundantly clear. If these are your concerns, and that's what you're getting out of this channel, again, I can't oblige you. That's what you're looking for out of this channel. I don't want that type of attention. You know, like I'm talking about stuff to people over here, and you're over there. You know what I mean? It's almost disruptive, frankly. See what I'm saying? If you're concerned with the tea about what's going on with me, there are other channels for that. There are other channels that talk about me and they talk about other people. There are other channels for that. So that's all I'm saying. You know, I mean, I can't do that with you here. I'm not doing that. So, you know, there's plenty of other channels that focus on the interaction, you know, what's going on between this YouTuber and that YouTuber. You know, okay, that's cool. Oh no, I'm not upset with Stereo Lover. I'm not upset at all. I'm just making a point. I'm just making a point. Okay, I accept the fact that you were joking. Okay. Hilarious. But I'm just saying that, you know, I'm just making the point that this that type of content is not what I generally do here. You know, I freely discuss things that I feel comfortable discussing. It's up to me to decide what is your business and what is not your business as far as things of that personal nature go with me. That boundary will always be there. It's always been there and it's always going to be there. It's just in my nature. So, you know, like I said, I mean, and I those other the little T channels or whatever, those are, you know, those are fun. You know, there's some people, they make funny videos about me. They're funny. You know what I mean? So they're not, it's not a question of, you know, who's this, who's that, you know, and if other channels are talking about me, well, you know, good. Good. Most of the time I just ignore it, but sometimes I just want to I sometimes it's coming from creators that are just like they have like you know, I don't know, they get like 200 views per video. You know what I mean? Which is okay. I mean, so, but I want to, you know, if it's creative, I want to help. You know, if it's good, if it's well done, man, check that out. It's hilarious. Give it a like. So, I mean, you know, uh, what's really funny is most things that are directed at me, I don't take personally. I just don't. It's just weird to take YouTube personally, for the most part, for me anyway. And I don't really criticize people who do. You know, I criticize people who do and then complain about it all the time. You know, like they 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 complain about boundaries being crossed with them that they never set, you know, and they won't enforce. You know what I mean? Like that's kind of on you. And then you're complaining, like, oh my God, people are attacking me. And I'm just like, what? You know, like, can't you just hit them back? You know what I mean? Like, hit them back. You got a YouTube channel, hit them back, you know, or ignore them. But to get all, I don't know, it's weird. It's weird to me. It's strange to me. All right. Good night, Jeremy. Dude, this channel, I can't promise that it's not going to get out of hand again. You know what I mean? I got emotions just like anybody else, and I'm going to react to certain things that I see and that take place just like anybody else. You know, I mean, that's just what's going to happen. I mean, that's, you know, but my content focus is always going to be making people aware of these terrible things that keep happening to kids. That's always going to be the focus of my content. But the bottom line is, a lot of us collaborate together. It's going to happen, and things are going to happen, and people are going to clash. And I might speak up about it. And if I speak up about it, you better believe I'm going to be loud about it. That's just how I am. And I'm never going to be apologetic for it. Danny Tay, thank you. I love that you love it. Let's see. Veronica Falls. When I have seen that judgment of people on YouTube, I think that person was a friend in person, would they speak that way to them? Hopefully they would not. But if they did, they are not a friend. Exactly. That's my point. Dude, I don't say nothing to nobody on here that I wouldn't say to their face. That's real. That is absolutely 100% real. Like I come from a time and place where if you get out of line with your mouth, you can't be surprised if you take a shot to the face. You can't be surprised. Cherry K, don't do it. Don't do it. You cannot be surprised if somebody blasts you in the face for getting out of line and running your mouth. Like, I just instinctively, if I say something, it is something that I already know that if I was in front of them, I would be saying this, and there's the possibility that they would punch me right in the face for saying it. God damn it, Siren Jag does it. Dude. Anyway. Yeah, man. Right. Yeah, I just don't have as much respect for true crime YouTubers who don't use their platform to try to bring more awareness, to spread the word on certain things. That's just, I feel like you could do whatever you want, and it's okay as long as you do that to some degree. Just take something that's making even a minute little difference for the better, just trying to. That's how I feel about that, and do anything else. Talk about anything, Cherry K, we're spreading information. Okay. We are bringing awareness to as many people as we possibly can about how the system continuously fails our kids. That's what we're doing. There's too many Daniel Fernandez's out there. There's too many Joe Clyde Danielses out there. There's too many James Hutchinsons out there. This is there's too many. And it breaks my heart. So all this mundane stuff, man, it's like, it's so crazy. Just let somebody do what they do, Just let somebody do what they do. Why you got to get on them? All right, guys. Uh, I love you guys very much. And we will be doing Patreon either tomorrow or the next day. Hopefully. That's the goal. Okay. And we will do this again very soon, my friends.